For myself, my name is Nigel Chimwaza. I flew in from Dallas yesterday, so I'm a little tired. But I am a husband to an amazing wife. I am a father to 3 little kids, all under 3. So y'all pray for me. And I am a principal solutions engineer at HubSpot. And last but not least, I have my own organization. I'm a founder of Learnful, which is a online e-learning platform that connects individuals to roles specifically in the tech sales and pre-sales space. So I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, so hey everybody, my name is Jamal Tate. I'm currently an account executive for the healthcare and life sciences vertical at Salesforce. I started out the mud. I started out as a sales development representative, then got promoted to a business development representative, and then got promoted to an account executive. So I've definitely climbed the ranks of sales and look forward to sharing a little bit of my experience with y'all today.
Testing. Hi, everyone. My name is Liv Oteo, and I am an Air Force veteran that transitioned to sales. So I'm currently a senior sales enablement specialist at Veeam Software, and I'm really happy to be here with you guys today.
Perfect. I'm DJ Johnson. I'm also married as well. Don't want Nigel to get me in trouble with my wife. Amazing. I got an amazing wife as well. But I work at Microsoft on our software development team, so I'll help all of our SaaS customers go to market with AI. So super excited to be talking with you guys today.
Love it. You see how people try to piggyback off of the marriage stuff. But anyway, let's jump into it. We're gonna run through. I also want to give some time for some Q&A because I really want you guys to grab some knowledge from these folks as well. But without further ado, we're here for tech sales, and we all know that tech sales is a lot more than just selling to individuals. It's about solving problems, driving impact and everything. So I guess before we even jump into the meat of it, I'm curious to know from a few of y'all, what separates elite tech sales individuals from the rest? Like, what are some three top qualities that one can really focus on and hone in on really becoming elite and working at these top tier companies that y'all are at?
I can start us off. Now, I just want to say we're all friends on this stage, so we're going to take everything we say with a grain of salt. But when I think about it, it's 3 things. It's mindset, it's management, it's mentors. So with mindset, you got to realize that there's a distinction in greatness. So when you think about it, you got HubSpot, you got Salesforce. A majority, if not all, Fortune 500 companies use Salesforce. And so when you think about what it takes to be successful here, everybody hears, 6 figures, all this money. They're not just giving that to you for free. And so it's almost like the difference between the G League and the NBA. You're getting paid in both. You're playing in both. You're getting playtime, but there's a clear distinction. Almost if you think about it, like you got Michael Kors, you got Gucci. Both great, phenomenal products, but there's a clear distinction. And so when you think about coming into tech sales, you have to have that mindset of I'm gonna get it. It's not a job where, I just wanna work remote and have it easy. You're gonna have to grind, but the reward is gonna be worth it. And so that's your mindset. And then you think about management. You have to be able to run your one-on-one meetings. You need to know your customers. What's your point of view? What problems can you solve for them? Who are the people that would care about solving these problems? How are you going to connect with them? You have to be methodical about this in order to find success because you're getting it out the mud. And then lastly is mentors. You need people who can show you the way, who've been there before, who are a level above you, 2 levels above you, who can say, hey, this is the playbook I used. Hey, these are the emails I used. Hey, this is the talk track I used. Hey, these are the resources I use. So when you think about those 3 things, the mindset, the management, the mentors, I think, at least for me, that's how I've been able to get to Salesforce and find that success.
Ooh, I love that a lot. Anything to add on there?
Yeah, I would say drive for sure. And then you need to be fearless. So when you're in sales, you're knocking on doors, whether it's figuratively or literally, but you're creating those opportunities for yourself. So you can definitely get a job in tech sales, do what you were hired to do, succeed, but then find yourself stuck there. So in order to really advance, you have to have that drive. You have to be fearless. You have to knock on doors, like Jamal said, getting mentors, asking for help, and that really just makes all of the difference.
Yeah, and I would say for me at Microsoft, I do a lot of interviewing. I think something we look for is communication skills, right? Can you actually communicate? Are you a good listener? I see a lot of people in our field kind of struggle because they want to talk more than they listen. So I always use the product of like, hey, 80% listen, 20% speak, right? So if you can hone that skill right now, that'll be great for you guys to move forward.
Yeah, that's good. I agree with that. I think one thing that I'm hearing is it's a lot of drive, a lot of mental thing that needs to be aligned with that. But I'm also curious is like, whenever you think of sales, we think about quota, we think about target. And I think that's a kind of a gray area. It can be a scary thing, especially for someone that's entering. So as I'm thinking about building, these pipelines or, creating and closing deals, relationships is huge here, it sounds like. And so my question to you all is, how are you able to build authentic relationships that not only close the deals, but really builds that book of business for continuous growth within your organization?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Nigel. So for me, I'm at the enterprise level at Microsoft. My quota for the year, $50 million I got to go find, right?
Lord.
I know, crazy. But the thing about it is, it's like, deals close, but doors can stay open. So I always tell people I'm not the most technical person, but I'm the most reliable person. So when customers see me, they're like, hey, you know what? DJ might not always have all the technical answers, but he's consistent and he gets things done for us. So that's how those doors continue to stay open, and I continue to build my pipeline over the long term.
I would just add on to that, how you mentioned earlier, the communication skills really go a long way. So when you're in sales, of course you have a product to sell, of course you have a quota to hit, but if that's your number one priority, you're not gonna meet it. You have to change your approach and really see yourself as a trusted advisor. What are you selling? How will that product help the people that you're trying to sell to? And really listen. Really, when you're having these discovery calls, taking the time, like DJ said, listen. 80% you're listening to what are their pain points, what are their needs, because you can't tell them that you have a solution for them. You have to listen to them and then ask them and help them discover that you have the solution for them. So communication really goes a long way.
Yeah, and just real quick, there's this, DJ mentioned he's in enterprise sales. So there's this book called Let's Get Real or Let's Not Play at All. And it speaks to how to be successful in enterprise sales. And basically the theme of the book is you have to be there to improve your customer satisfaction score. You have to make sure they're using their product, they're satisfied with their product, and we know that when that happens, they're gonna grow, and you're gonna be right there to help them with that growth. And so I was just talking to a AE who just closed the second largest deal in the history of Salesforce last quarter. He said that same account was a $20 million attrition risk last quarter. Now I can't say, or last year, excuse me, I can't say like how much we made on it, but he made a very nice check on that deal. And what he did was get in there. They don't want to hear, oh, I don't know, or oh, I'm not the right person for that, or oh, you need to go talk to someone else. You're their point of contact. You're their trusted advisor. You're the person who needs to be able to go and figure it out so they don't have to go through those loops. And the reward you get when you focus on helping your customers improve their satisfaction is that you get that ACV on the back end, but it's a long game. So you can't be worried about your self-interest. You have to really hone in on what do they need to be successful, forget about yourself, and then ultimately you'll get that success.
So you said how much you made on the deal? Okay, just text me afterwards. All right, cool. So we're learning a lot about, obviously that transition and the mentality that we need to step into. But for those people that are either new in this space, wanting to get into this space, there's a word that's been running around that I've been seeing, and it's imposter syndrome. It's, hey, I'm in it, I don't feel like I belong in here, or hey, I don't even know if I qualify to be in this space, should I even apply to this job? So I'm curious to hear from y'all, specifically experience-wise, like how has mentorship, training, boot camps, whatever that looks like, how has that really either eliminated or minimized your self-doubt within what you're capable of and accelerating your success?
Yeah, that's a great one, Nigel. I think back to when I first started. I started as an inside sales rep, and I'm a sports guy, right? So you practice more than you play. So getting those reps over and over, and then I think something to what Jamal just said, it's right, like when you're at the enterprise level, you're looked at as a trusted advisor. So you should master your level first before trying to move up. And that's kind of where like that patience comes into play at, because it's hard, right? Like we're in sales to make money. So you're looking like, man, well, I'm only making this, they're making that, but you don't know how your business works. You don't know how the organization works. So it's hard for you to kind of level up. So just take time to master your level. Once you do that, then you can start looking at that next level up. And that's where the mentorship comes into play at. And I will say for mentorship, it's a two-way street. You can learn from them, but you can also teach them a lot of things too that are going on the front lines to kind of help redefine the organization and the culture.
I like that. I think for me, just to double tap into that too, and would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. When I think about imposter syndrome, for me, I actually welcome it. For me, that is a sign that there's an area that I need to grow in. If I'm in a room and I feel like everyone's speaking and using these words or being able to communicate, or they have an amazing relationship with their clients and I don't feel like I have that, that's simply a direction for me to lean into a little bit more. So, hey, if I don't have this skill yet, then for me to level up and feel confident, that's where I need to live. So I think the presence or the lack of presence of that imposter syndrome, you've kind of had that mentality of I've made it, and that's a scary place to be in tech sales or even in tech in general, since it's innovative and it's always changing in that space.
It's funny you say that, Nigel. We had an all hands call, and our CEO was on it, and he said, I want to make sure that everybody here at Microsoft is a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. So
Yeah.
you lean into that imposter syndrome. Like, hey, there's gaps in what I have.
Yep.
Let me lean and figure out what that is so I can be better for it and
Facts.
better serve our customers.
Yeah, and if I can jump in, I think it's like that phrase, if you can see it, you can believe it, you can achieve it. You have to find people who look like you, who are doing it, that can empower your own self-belief. So I came through two kind of feeder programs, Us in Technology and Rework. And so Us in Technology, it was Kendrick Trotter. And seeing Kendrick just being super cool, he's from the Bay just like me, and being himself, and seeing how he found success. And so it was almost like, well, dang, if Kendrick can do it, I can do it. Same with Shelton Banks, the CEO of Rework. Like, he doesn't code switch. And he is just authentically himself, and he has found so much success. And so it's like, if you can find these people, whether in your company or not, whether on your campus or not, wherever it might be, LinkedIn, podcast, it doesn't really matter. You can start to see yourself in those shoes. And then, we could go in that concept of mentorship. Now, if you can connect with them, those people can speak life into you. Because honestly, I didn't have it. And so I had to kind of feed off their energy until I could find enough confidence and then kind of go on my own path. And now I'm kind of doing that for others. And so it's like, we have to find those people who can give us the belief in ourselves when we don't necessarily have it for our own.
I would just add education to that. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to go back and pursue an entire degree, but there's so many certifications out there. When I first got into the tech space, I didn't realize how big the tech industry was and how many different avenues you could take. I took some certifications from CompTIA. I did IT fundamentals, and I did a boot camp for Security Plus. And that really helps me today, even though I'm not utilizing it. Veeam specializes in data backup and recovery, and that's something that you need once your cybersecurity fails. So just having that background knowledge and being able to speak with customers, I think that really helped me. I think there's so many different avenues when it comes to tech sales, so just hone in on that topic and go to LinkedIn Learning, go to Google, go to ChatGPT, keep up with the current trends. Technology is changing every day, so if you can stay up to date, that will really go a long way.
Okay, with that, you said certifications and those trainings are important. I guess I want to ask the other guys as well. Do y'all feel like those certifications can really help you level up? And if so, is there any certifications or boot camps or trainings that you personally would recommend?
Yeah, I think for me, so being in the AI space, AI is such a broad term. I think a really good platform that was good for me, it's a platform called, it's not Coursera, but Cloud Guru. So Cloud Guru teaches you all the things you need to know about cloud computing, because that's essentially what AI is generating from, right? So it teaches you about the AI stack, AI platforms, it teaches you about storage, like hot, cold, all the great stuff, right? So that's a platform that if you really are looking to scale up in AI, start with that. It's only like $50 a month, but it essentially gets you cloud computing certified for AWS, GCP, and Azure. And that'll kind of get you off to the races to where you need to go as far as learning what AI actually is.
And I'll double down. I mentioned those two programs, Us in Technology and Rework. I stand hands down by them. They have changed my personal income level for life. So I would say if you can find programs like that are free, where you're not having to pay anything. And then as well, I just got my AI associate certification with Salesforce. So we have a free online learning platform, Trailhead, where you can kind of go take these classes, get the information. But I think it's important, to DJ's point, it's like you almost have to lean into the future. AI is here, it's not going anywhere, it's expanding, companies are adopting it, they're investing into it, they're employing in it, and so as opposed to resisting the curve, I think it's time that we kind of really lean into it, and I would say in particular those AI certifications are going to be where you can learn how to just not just improve yourself, but maximize your efficiency with that same level of effort to then, create more opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, if y'all want to take that Salesforce stuff, that's cool. But HubSpot also has a lot of free trainings that you have available, so you can dig into a lot of different aspects on what's important to you. Also, a cool little shameless plug. Learnful is a community for those tech individuals that are wanting to transition, wanting to get placed, wanting to level up, whether that's workshops, whether that's networking, whether that's all hands and stuff like that. So if you're interested, y'all talk to me afterwards. Oh, bless his name. But all right, jumping into the next question. How are we doing on time? We're good? All right, cool. I feel like it's a catch-22. I feel like to get a job, you need experience, but you need experience to get a job. So if you're someone that's just kind of on the outside looking in, what advice or what process or what pathways should they focus on when trying to get into this space?
That's a tough one. But I would say to Jamal's point earlier, so you start talking about like subject matter experts, right? Like having a point of view. If you're a teacher, you want to transition into technology, we have healthcare education teams, right? So knowing what your expertise level is and what your area is, and looking and matching that with what tech needs. So there's verticals for everything. You got banking, you got manufacturing, healthcare, life science, all that great stuff, right? So coming in with a point of view, I think a lot of times when I interview folks at Microsoft, they get so worried about the technical aspect, which is really important, but they kind of forget to talk about why they will make a change for Microsoft. So coming in with your background, with your point of view, bringing those transferable skills, that'll actually get you in the door faster than knowing what the technology does and what it can't do, because we want people that are differentiators and subject matter experts.
I would say when you think about sales, it's all about building relationships. So really working on your communication skills, really learning how to sell yourself first could go a long way. Also, don't be afraid to take a different role in the company. Starting off as sales development representative. Some people start off with tech support and then switch over to sales. There's nothing wrong in getting your foot in the door, really taking your time to have that in, take advantage of that in, learn the business inside it out, and then pursue that role that you really want.
Yeah, it makes me think like in real estate, they say it's all about like location, location, location. I think in sales, it's all about like network. Yeah. And so what worked for me, I keep talking about these two programs, but what they allowed me to do is they had established relationships with employers where once they put their stamp of approval on me, I had SDR, entry-level positions, 2 offers, one for $90,000, one for $75,000. I had never worked in tech sales before, but that's because I had went through their programs. They had relationships. They brought in volunteers who were hiring managers, and so they got exposure to me. They said, oh, okay, he seems like we can see him being successful. And then as well, I think about it, like there's a stat that at Salesforce, and I keep talking about it, of course, but it's harder to get into Salesforce than it is to get into Harvard. I graduated high school with a 1.67 GPA. And so had it not been for these programs who had relationships, that would have been looked at. In addition, I would say network, because if you can get a referral, you get put into a special pool that's prioritized that others don't. And so if you can have someone, like if you're interested in working for Salesforce, you can have Jamal Tate make a referral for you. I can write something on your behalf. I don't even have to write it. I can just hit approve. And now you're in this special pool of candidates. Because the truth is, most of these companies don't want to go, I don't know about DJ, but I can only imagine what they go through hiring and interviewing. They'd rather have a short list of people who say, hey, you're a good employee. Who do you know that also will be a good employee? Oh, someone else? Let's go talk to them. And so I think if you can build those relationships with people who have that network and they are willing to put your name forward or make a recommendation or a referral for you, you can almost bypass that entire process of having to go through the rigmarole of competing with 10,000 other applicants.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. How you get, you said 1.7?
We ain't got to talk about it right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. No, I agree. I think when I'm thinking about someone that's trying to get in, I think they need to view themselves as the product. And just in the role in itself, just the way that you guys research, potential prospects, just the way that you guys study what they're currently using, finding some kind of in on the decision maker. I think that needs to be your approach in this whole thing. So, hey, I'm the product, and my job is to show how my value or the value that I can bring to your organization based upon my current skills. So if I'm networking, if I'm building, like touching base in those communities, coming to these events, rubbing shoulders with those right individuals and having the right conversations, all of the roles that I've had, I'm in the solutions engineering space, all of the roles I've had, I haven't had to apply. It's been simply, I saw someone in a space that looked like me, I networked with them, not asking for something, but more so wanting to learn from them, and they're like, hey, you know, are you interested right now? Are you open for a role? Little did they know I was unemployed, so I was hungry, but I didn't let them know that. I was like, hey, I'm here to learn and lean off of understand like how you got to where you're at, and that's where open doors kind of happen for me. So I agree with all of it. I think it's the networking, it's you're finding your in, and then making sure that you're able to articulate the value that you can provide for that specific company.
And if I can ask that real quick, and I think with networking too, DJ talks about it being a two-way street. Don't just go to people asking and expecting to take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go with something you can give to them. Go with a point of view or a perspective. Hey, here's a specific challenge I'm dealing with. Here's how I'm thinking about solving it. Here's the roadblocks I'm encountering. What advice do you have on how I can go about this? People want to be able to solve problems and help you in a quick way without having to do a bunch of work. And so if you make it easy for people to help you, they'll want to continuously help you, and then they'll start to see your success as their success, and then that's how you get to the point. Like at my last job, similar, I never submitted an application, but I had someone whose success was invested in mine and had the opportunity, like Nigel.
Facts. Yeah. I love that. Well, let's get into the elephant in the room, y'all. We're here because of AI. There's AI stuff everywhere. I'm looking at these people, these AI people everywhere. Is that concerning for y'all? Like when you think about sales and you think about the stuff that AI can do, obviously with it ever changing, ever growing, how are you as sales professionals able to future-proof your role and leverage such a system?
I think DJ's the expert for this one.
Yeah, I would say so. I see a lot of stuff online, like people are like, AI is going to replace humans and take jobs and stuff. Just so you guys know, like there's still going to have to be a human component to check what AI is doing, right? So for me as a sales rep, when I was an inside sales rep, my job was finding leads, creating marketing campaigns, working with a field rep to essentially drum up business, right? We do now have AI bots that help us do that, but there's still a human component is that they have to check, is the information correct? Is this actually a qualified lead? Have you actually talked to the person? AI can't talk to a person. They can technically call in with a robot, chatbot, but it's not an actual human being, right? So what I've seen at Microsoft is a lot of, hey, lean into AI and be the subject matter expert within that space. So if I'm an ISR, I'm going to look up all things inside sales, all things enablement as far as what's helping sales reps automate their day. And I'm going to be the subject matter expert on it, right? I can speak to it. Anybody has questions, they'll come to me. And vice versa as far as enterprise sales. There's a ton of platforms out there now. Like Salesforce has this thing, it's AI agents, right? Like I'm now leaning into that to learn more about it. A lot of my customers are asking about it. So now when things are coming out, they're like, oh, you know what? DJ just closed a deal with one of his customers to leverage over 1 million AI agents. Let's go talk to him about how he did that. So don't be scared of it. Lean into it. Have a point of view on it the same way Jamal said, and you'll be just fine.
I think that there's a lot of resources that can help you. There's even chatbots that you can practice your pitch with, and they can give you objections and give you a safe space to practice because you might not have a manager that's dedicated and that's going to help mentor you. So, you know, really going out of your way to finding those resources. Also, a story that really stuck with me that I like to think back on is the Blockbuster versus Netflix. So sometimes I used to get caught up on change. I'm like, everything's changing so fast. And, you know, I would get a little frustrated. But when I heard the story, you know, Blockbuster had the opportunity to do streaming and had the opportunity to do what Netflix is, but they didn't take advantage of it. They were hesitant to change. They thought there was no competition on the brick and mortar store. And, you know, Netflix, they started off with the mail-in DVD rentals. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they made it easier. You didn't have to go into a physical store to rent a movie. And then streaming came out, and then they had their own studios. So now they're not even fully relying on Hollywood, and they are so successful even today with competing platforms because they weren't afraid of change. They weren't afraid of leaning into technology. So like sometimes when I find myself getting a little frustrated with everything changing, I'm like, I can't be Blockbuster. I gotta be Netflix. I gotta, keep up with the times because otherwise you'll get left behind.
Yeah.
I think the reality of it is you're either on the train or you're on the tracks. And so, even with, what DJ is saying, Salesforce is labeling itself like the world's first, now hear what I'm saying, digital labor platform. So I do think change is going to come, and you have to ask yourself, like, do you want to be Blockbuster or do you want to be Netflix? And so just really embracing that curve. Things will shift as we do whenever we saw like the internet, jobs were transitioned, but people had to upskill. And so that's the same thing that we're going to have to do through these certifications, through these relationships, through deeper learning. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves on the tracks.
And I got one more thing too. I think to Jamal's point, right? Like we all talk about career path, roadmap. There's a term that's used in technology. It's called digital transformation. You should be doing the same thing with your career. You should never be doing the same thing over and over and over because eventually it becomes obsolete, right? So be okay with taking control and saying, hey, you know what don't I have right now? Let me go out there and research it and grab it. And I'm a digitally transformation my career, right? So take that and kind of run with it.
That's good. Shout out Blockbuster. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I want to make sure that we leave some time for some Q&A. But I think the last question that I have for y'all is, let me look at y'all's eyes. I think one of the things, what is something that you would tell, I guess, looking back at your journey, looking back at your career, going back to the start of it, whether if that's 1.6 or whatever you're wanting to get to, what would you tell yourself, or what pathway would you take, or what advice would you give that can ensure that you're going to 10x where you're at currently? Like,
if I can, I'll start off shortly.
Sure.
I'm surprised sometimes at the places I've worked and the level of incompetence I see. And I think about how I played so small and waiting until I was perfect and waiting until I had mastered everything. I think if I could go back to the beginning, I would say like go big or go home. I've seen people go for positions and get them who had zero qualification and find success. And so I think if they're doing it, why aren't we? And so we got to change that mindset and how we see ourselves and applying for opportunity.
I would say really work on your communication skills. I know we talked about that a lot today, but specifically, learn how you can navigate a conversation by controlling the pitch and your tone and, really, really taking the time to get to know people. So I want to actually give you guys a challenge today when you're networking during breaks. Don't just say, exchange your name and LinkedIn and then, forget about this person that you met at Diversitech. Like, really get to know them, talk to them, find out how did they end up here today? Like, what attracted them to come to this event? And you might find that you have something in common. You might find that you'll be able to help each other. You might find a mentor, a best friend, a business partner, and you would never know if you don't take that extra step to, really engage with people. And that's what you're doing in sales. You're building relationships. Even when you do make a sale, you're waiting for the next product to come out to reach back out and say, hey, are you going to upgrade? Are you going to try this new feature out? So it never ends just because you make a sale or you make a connection. It's not like it's done and over with. It's everlasting.
Yeah, that's good. I think to piggyback off of what Liv and Jamal said, I would have made a career roadmap. So what is that career or role you want in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It doesn't have to go to plan, right? But having a game plan of something you can kind of pinpoint to. Because to Jamal's point, I've seen folks that are like, it's like, how did you get in this role? Oh, I just applied for it. So if that's a role that's on your career roadmap and you can get to it in 18 months versus 3 years, like, why not take it? So have a plan, stick to it, and move forward with it.
That's good. I like that. Actionable items. Make sure we're rubbing shoulders and networking. I don't know if we have any time for questions, but is there any pressing question that you have for the panel? Anyone in the crowd? Anybody? Row 2, my man. They give you mics? I don't know. You got a long voice.
All right, so thank you for the presentation. Enterprise sales is definitely different from, GE, right? How do you manage Nigerian name or?
Zimbabwe, it's close. Yeah.
So
Okay.
how do you manage that, right? Because when you deal most of the people, I mean, on the other side, it's usually not people that kind of look. So how do you manage that expectation, that conceived bias, a notion that comes with whomever you meet and transition into build a relationship and see past who you are and like what you have to offer?
Yeah, I can just hop in here real quick. I guess for me, I know Zimbabweans can't be in tech sales, bro, but all right, cool. But no, but I get your point. And I think for us, we all know this, man, especially as being diverse individuals, sometimes we got to work twice as hard. So to get to half of whatever other people that don't look like us have to. So I think for me, it was very important for me to continue to, I won't say master my craft, because I don't think I've mastered it, but to really pour into a level of when I do step into those rooms that no one looks like me as the youngest individual in this space, and they may be second guessing, is this person capable? I make sure that as I'm communicating, I know my product, I know the process, and I know how to perform. Like, that's really what's important for me in that time, because for me, it's not only just me, because I feel like as I'm in this space, I'm opening doors for individuals just like y'all to get in this. That's my main goal is, once I'm here, I'm making sure that I'm lifting at least 5-6 people up in that whole process. So I hear you, I agree with you in that sense, but I think for us, we just it's a change of mentality. We belong at that space.
And just to summarize that real quick, competence breeds confidence. And the more confidence you have, the more you can take over a call, the more you can show them why you're different, and the more you can overcome that objection, because that's all it is a customer objection.
Yep. In the back? Okay.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name is Kennedy. Thank you for this panel. I am I'm taking on a chief of staff role that will require a bit of business development skills, which is in sales. And I took it on because I have aspirations of in 5 years I'd like to be a founder for myself. So I wanted to know just if you guys have a snippet of advice that may be slightly different from anything you gave here for someone on that projection, or someone who's looking at their career to push them in the place of entrepreneurship or just some kind of individual venture. So if you have any kind of a snippet of advice that aligns with that may be different, would appreciate that. Thank you.
Just so I can understand the question, and I'll give it to the panel. You're more so asking about outside of the role, how you're able to kind of build your own, not only brand, but your own organization or like you said, entrepreneurship. How are you able to manage both? Is that what the question was?
Not necessarily about managing it, but it's taking on the skills at each level so that you're able to project into that entrepreneurship space.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Anyone want to add on?
Yeah, I would say just accountability, right? If you're going to be an entrepreneur, there is no fallback or anyone to point the finger at. So just get used to taking on bigger projects and taking accountability and getting things done. And essentially, you got to become a good executor, right? So whatever you're doing in your current role, you should be executing at a high level because you're going to need that when you go off on your own entrepreneurship.
And it's really quick. You're already running a business. DJ's quota is $50 million. He's running a $50 million enterprise within Microsoft. And so that's how you have to see it, is that you're running your own business. You're just doing it as an intrapreneur versus an entrepreneur.
Yep. I think to add lastly, and you have the cheat code already. You're in an organization. It's simply copy and paste. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. So whatever strategies, sales, approaches, methodologies that you're learning in that and I'm speaking for myself, like at HubSpot, I'm seeing how they're going to market, how their sales is, how's their marketing, and then ultimately bringing that into my own individual ventures that I have, and it's working because I'm not having to shift through and figure things out. I'm working for a multi-billion-dollar company that's already done that for me. So it's literally copy and paste, I feel like.
All right, guys. Listen, I know this is really, really good. Tech sales is where it's at. I need y'all to give them a warm round of applause, but this is where networking comes in. If you have questions, find them out there, stop them before they leave, and